All right, so today what we're going to look at is our warm up for today and our lesson with factoring our quadratics. So we're going to work backwards and undo the multiplication that we did before. So we're going to get started with our warm up for this particular lesson. So when we're asking for what is the GCF, the greatest common factor in this binomial, you guys want to take a look and see what can I factor out of each single term in here and have it, kind of undo that multiplication. So if I take a look, number one is I take a look at what numbers do my 12 and my 16 have in common. So in other words, kind of like put a little side note is like if I had a look at 12, well, my factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. The numbers that multiply to give you this number. 16 would have, 1, 2, 3 wouldn't work, 4 would work, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then of course 16. So now we're looking for that greatest common factor. So we're looking at the greatest number that they both have in common. And that means I can factor out a 4 out of each one. So what's going to happen is number one, I'm going to have a 4 on the outside. And then whatever, is left on the inside is still there. So 4 times what gives me 12? That's 3. 4 times what gives me 16? That will also be a positive 4 here. Now, the other part is basically if you notice they have both x's. So I want to take the least amount of x's away from each one. So this one has 2. This one kind of has 1x. So the least amount I can take from both of them is going to be one single x. So what's going to happen is now I'm going to take away 1x here because I've factored it out, and there's going to be 1 still here. Because I took away 1 from this term is going to have 0 x's left, so that's why it's just a 4 sitting here. And that's what we're talking about with GCF. So try the other ones and see what you guys can get from these ones. So for this one, I look at 4 and 2, greatest common factor. What can I factor out of both? So that would also be a 2 for this part. And I take a look at my exponents to see what's the least amount I can pull. This one has 5, this one has 2, and it looks like I can pull the least amount out of this one, so I can pull 2 from here and also pull two x's from here. So I pull out or factor out x squared. What's left over? Well, if I factored out 2, what's left over the inside? So I have x to the third. Now, if I factor out a 2 from the 4, that means I still have the 2 here. So 2 times 2 gives us back to 4. Now, if you notice, 2x squared, I factored out the whole entire thing, so we can't leave it blank. But I notice there's a negative here. So what's going to be left is a negative 1 for this factor form, and that's our GCF. So we're factoring out this part here. The third one is just kind of getting you guys used to. So if I take a look, do both my terms have an x? So no, there's nothing that I can factor out, so that's going to be important for one of our strategies later on. And if I take a look at my numbers, this one only has a technical 1, this is 5, and there's no single number I can factor out. So what happens is the only thing I can possibly factor out that they have in common could be a positive 1, and this is going to be very helpful for our factoring, like I said, later on today.